So when you're ready, just come to stand on your mat and let's just loosen off to begin with. Okay, so I just want you to start with some nice big shoulder rolls. So roll those shoulders up towards your ears, round and down into your back pockets. And again, just follow that breath in and out. Make it feel really nice and loose, working through the tops of the shoulders and into the neck. One more. And then you're going to carry on those rolls, but this time take your hands onto your shoulders and roll through your elbows. And really draw nice big shoulders through those elbows, so you're opening out the backs of the shoulders and the upper back, and then the fronts of the shoulders and the chest. Lovely, one more. Okay, and then you're going to bring your arms to shoulder height and just draw some little shoulders now. Shoulders, little circles, sorry. And as you do that, I just gently want you to start bringing a bit of focus onto your tummy. So gently tighten your tummy towards your spine. You should feel like those shoulders are starting to get a little bit heavy now, but keep it going. If you need to at any point, you can shake your arms off and join back in. Now try and keep your necks nice and long. So even though you're circling those shoulders, we're melting the shoulder blades down the backs and we're growing nice and tall. Okay, let's change the direction with those circles now, keeping the arms long and still seeing if you can gently draw your lower tummy towards your spine. So you should feel a good sense of tension now in your lower abdomen. Good, keep it going with those circles in the opposite direction. Now bring your hands to touch your shoulders and roll through those shoulders, and that should feel quite nice now as you're just loosening off all of those muscles that were just holding your arms out. Lovely. And then relax your hands by your side and let's just do those shoulder rolls just forwards. Good. Okay, set those shoulders down into your back pockets. We're going to reach down with one arm and up with the other. Nice long stretch through the side of the body. Come back to the centre and over to the opposite side, down with one arm and up with the other. We're trying to separate your fingertips. We've been doing a lot of this. I think it just feels really nice. Remember, shoulders down into back pockets. Down, up and over. Good, smile if you can. And once more, down, up, round and over. Okay, back to the centre. So we've warmed up those shoulders. We're going to draw a nice big circle now as we float the arms up, round and down. 2 semicircles to make one full circle. And as you do that, you're trying to keep those shoulders melted down, tucked into your back pockets, and stop your rib cage from flaring forwards. So gently tighten your tummy to your spine and draw that rib cage down towards your waist. We spoke about this last week. Okay, let's add a little bit of a challenge now. So as the hands float up, you're going to lift one foot off the floor, maybe just the heel or the whole foot, and it comes down with the knee. So we lift, float up, lower down. Super. We did this last week, so we're going to see if we can keep the pelvis nice and level as we switch the legs from side to side. Try not to hitch at your hips. Doesn't matter how high your leg comes, you can keep your toe gently pressed to the floor if you need to, or you could try and come into that standing tabletop, all the while keeping your posture nice and upright. Good. Breathe in as the arms float up and out as they come down. Keep it going. Let me see you and see if everybody else has joined us. Oh, hi, Paula Muna. Good, okay, keep them going. Lovely, and then we're going to bring our feet down and our arms down as well. Feet hip distance apart. Now I want you to lower yourself down into a little knee bend. Spine is long, tail is tucked underneath. You're going to hold that position and then you're going to swing your arms up, round and down, and then come back to stand. So same with the arm circles. Up, round and down, up to stand. So if you want to work harder, you just sit down into that knee bend a little deeper. Okay, take those arm circles nice and slow. so that you're having to hold that knee bend a little longer. And try and make sure that your kneecaps are shining forwards and not crossing over. So you've got a little football between your knees. Keep your knees separate to hold that football in place. Good. We've got 3 more. Get that blood working in those legs. 2 more. A little deeper maybe. And then we're going to hold this next squat. So take it to where you can. And we're going to go into hundreds from here. So pulsing those arms. Now those of you that wish to, you can do that with the heels lifted off the floor, or we can keep the heels down. Okay, here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1. Lovely. Slowly push yourself back up to stand. Okay, make sure you've got enough space behind you for this next one. I'm going to turn side on so you can see what we're doing. You're going to start with your feet hip distance apart, and then you're going to step one leg behind, the lower down, push up and step forwards. Repeat with the opposite leg. So a nice long step, down with the knees, push back up. Doesn't matter how low you go, but try and bend at both knees and keep your weight nice and upright. So as you come down, you're not taking your weight forwards. It's that idea of the ceiling sinking and us being gently pressed down underneath that. Keep it going. Let's get this heart rate up. Burn a few calories so you can go and raid your chocolate boxes after this. Lovely. Let me see you. And you're trying to keep your pelvis level. As you bend down, good balance, Sally, well done. Good one for hips, good one for knees. Well done. Good work. Okay, hold, choose one side and hold. So step back and lower, and then we're coming back to our hundreds again. So pulse for me with those arms, tighten your tummy to your spine. 10, 9, 8, 7, tuck your pelvis under, 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1. Lovely. Up and straight over into the opposite side so we don't think too much about it. Step back, lower down and pulse. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, smile, 1 and come back to stand. You probably want to give those legs a little bit of a tap. We're going to stretch them out in a moment though, so they'll feel better shortly. Come down to kneel for me in the centre of your mat. We're going to kneel facing nice and upright. So let's just come here and just do a few pelvic tilts as we're kneeling. Yeah, I'm just going to tilt away while you're adjusting your cameras. That's it. So just tilting that pelvis forwards and backwards. You've got a little, imagine your pelvis is a bowl and you've got a marble in that bowl and you're just rolling it along the length of the bowl. And then come to where your pelvis rests level. Hands out in front of you now. I want you to imagine that you've stood up and we're going to do a roll down. But then when we get to the bottom, we're going to walk our hands out in front and sit back into our shell stretch. And then walk our hands back towards us and stack back up to kneel. So I'll show you what that looks like. You might lose me at the bottom of the camera. So rolling down, keep the hips forwards to begin with, and then walk your hands out in front as you take your hips back to your heels. Push and breathe at the end of that stretch, and then slowly walk back. And then stack yourself up to kneel and squeeze your bottom to push your hips and pelvis forwards. So get started with those when you feel ready. Down we go, heels to hips to heels, hands forwards. Slide the hands away from you and then squeeze your bottom to come up to stand. Lovely. Keep them going and enjoy them. Nice way of just loosening off the back of the spine. Remember, your head is the last thing to come up. So really stack that head on your shoulders. Still think about that idea of all of the bones in the spine looking moving along themselves. That's a great camera there, Amanda. You nailed it this week. Lovely. Okay, let's go for one more. This time, hold your shell stretch, and we're going to take it into our thread the needle. So we pass one hand underneath the opposite arm and twist to look to that side. And just hold that position there. And hold. And back to the center, and then swap sides. And then back to the center, and slowly step yourself back up to that high kneeling position. Okay, we're going to do a little bit of work in kneeling that can put a little bit of pressure through the kneecaps. So if you struggle with that at all, just bring yourself to kneel on a cushion, or you can just fold your mat over so that it's a little bit softer. So we're going to start nice and upright, and we're going to bring the arms out in front of us. I'm going to turn side on so you get an idea of this. So from here, we're really going to tuck the pelvis underneath, and then slowly start to lean backwards so you can feel tension stretching along the front of your thighs. Keep your neck nice and long, you're looking forwards, and then you bring yourself back up to kneel so your shoulders are back over your knees. You don't need to go too far, you're just going to hold that stretch, push your pelvis forwards, 3, 2, 1, and then come back up again. And just repeat that. If you need to, you can just shake your arms off. Join back in again, slowly lower back. Should feel like quite a big stretch along the front of the thighs, which is what we worked in our warm-up, and also it's loading those thighs as we lengthen them, so it's a good way to get them strong and flexible. Okay, you can just work here with that slow reach back, or if you're happy to hold it for a little while longer, we're going to add a twist back to the center, a twist back to the center, and then come back up again. So you're imagining you're pulling a bow and arrow, so you pull one elbow behind and look to that bent elbow, release it, and then pull the other elbow to the side, back to the center, and then come back up. Lovely way of just getting a bit of rotation through that upper back as well. That's very nice. Good. Okay, well done everyone, taking that challenge of the twist. Very good, and obviously the lower you go backwards, the more you'll feel that. Okay, opportunity to fit one more in. Watch those shoulders don't creep up to your ears, and then come back up for me, and then just sit back down and bring yourselves to lie on your sides. So we don't have much time in these evening online sessions, so straight on to the next thing and you can rest later. So we're going to prop ourselves up here on the forearm. So your shoulder is stacked over your elbow, and then really work to push away from the mat so that the side of your neck is nice and open and not closed down. No conversations between shoulders and ears this evening. Imagine that they've fallen out with one another. We're going to take this top arm, we're going to do a lovely big stretch, reach up and over, and then come back down again. Now your focus is actually what's happening here. So can you hold that lovely position, slide your shoulder blade into your back pocket, and really actively push away from the floor. Now, if you feel like you've got quite a good stable shoulder there, as the arm comes up and over, you could maybe add a lift with the hips as well. So you can't really see what I've done there. There we go. Up and over, the hips lift up, and then you lower back down. That's quite a big challenge to add that hip lift. So make sure you've got that strength in the shoulder before you give it a go. You won't cause any damage though, so give it a go if you want to, and if it doesn't feel right, one is just a good test. Okay, well that looks lovely. Very good awareness, everyone, of that bottom shoulder position. Beautiful, keep them up. And then let's see if we can just hold that for a little while longer. So take your bend up and over, and we're going to hold for 5. If you want to work a little harder, straighten the top leg. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lovely. Lower down and slide yourself down onto the mat so that you're resting on the side of the body with the top leg stretched out. So imagine now you're lying against a wall and you're trying to keep the whole of the back of your body gently stacked against the wall. We've got a little space underneath the floor and the waist. We've got a cup of tea resting on this top hip. We're going to slowly start to lift and lower that top leg in a nice straight line. So imagine you've got a pencil attached to the bottom of your foot and you're drawing a vertical line up the wall and then tracing that line back down. Try and keep your head in line with your spine so you're not hurling your head down unless you need to take a quick check-in on that foot. Otherwise, nice long spines and keep working. So you'll start to feel a warm glow building up on the outside of that leg. Rest when you need to, probably give it a bit of a pat and then go again. For those of you that want a little bit more sort of deeper activation as the leg lifts, do a squeeze of your pelvic floor and release. And squeeze and release. Let me come and see you. Very nice. If you feel pretty steady with these, you could always try it with the bottom leg straight, and that just makes you work a bit harder for balance. Okay, I'm going to go for a couple more, and then you know I've got a little challenge coming for you. Okay, hold the next one. Okay, so your leg is at, your foot is at hip height. That pencil is now going to draw a circle on that wall. Keep a very close eye on that cup of tea that's resting on your top hip. Don't spill it from side to side. Okay, change the direction with your circle. You should be feeling very warm in those hips now. So let's lower down and just drape that top leg over the bottom and give your hip a good pat. Very nice, very simple, but very good for those side glutes. Okay, let's come on to the tummy before we go back to the opposite side. Sorry, to come to work on the tummy. So just fold onto your backs for me, where we're going to work in our rest position. So we've got our knees bent. We're going to start with working with some tabletop positions. So I want you to imagine you've got a small sponge in the lower back. Gently press down on that sponge, tighten your tummy, float one leg up, followed by the second leg, and then one leg down, followed by the first leg again. So we're going to go up, up, down, down. Now, some of you might find you can work into those double tabletops quite well. If that's the case, we're going to do a double leg lift and a double leg lower. And as you double leg lift and lower, just make sure you keep a constant pressure on the sponge in the small of your back. Okay, this is just going to prepare your tummies. Bring a bit of awareness to them. Lovely. You might find if you're doing those double leg lifts, it's okay to squeeze your knees and feet together. And it might be easier to use your kind of legs as one. Great work, especially those double leg lifts, they are tough. Okay, let's go for a hold at the top. So bring both your legs into double tabletop and let's go for 100. So just pause those legs and pulse those arms. 10, 9, 8. Make sure your knees are over your hips and not too far away or too close. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Great. Knees to chest and give yourself a hug. Okay, we're going to come back to that double tabletop position, and this time we're just going to do single leg drops to the side. The leg comes back in and we go over to the opposite side. So you're imagining you've got a glass of champagne resting on one leg. Keep that leg still as the other leg drops out. Knees stay in line with the hips throughout this. Now, if it feels tricky doing that in a double tabletop, just bring the non-moving leg down, rest it on the floor, roll out with one hip and swap over. This is all about the control around the pelvis. So can you do this without the opposite hip lifting off the floor? Gently anchor that hip down. Imagine there's a button underneath it and you're pressing your hip into that button. Rest when you need to, otherwise keep them going. Oh, lovely, really good. Very nice, nearly there. Okay, let's bring both legs back together, back to tabletop position, and do one more round of hundreds for 10, 9, 8, tighten those tummies, 5, pelvic floor switched on, 3, 2, and 1. Lovely, knees towards chest. Fantastic. Okay, over onto the opposite side now. So we're going to set up with our shoulder prop. So elbow on the mat, shoulder stacked over the top. And we're going to work to lift the body away from the floor. So find that position and hold it. Keep that shoulder lifted and reach up and over to the top. Stretch through the side of the body and come back round and down. And again, just reach over, lengthen, breathe out. And down. Okay, you know what's coming. So you can add those little lifts of the hips. And then lower down. If you wish, you might just work on that top arm lift and beautiful alignment through the shoulder. 4 more. 3 more. 2 more. Looking very graceful, everyone. And we're going to hold this next one. So take it to where you can. Again, if you want to add that top leg lift, just to add a bit more load in, but we're here for 10, 9, 8, nice lift under the body. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Super. Come down onto your mat and just rest along through the line of your body. Okay, we're almost there. So we're just going to finish with these side hips. So stacking yourself up along the wall, feet, hips and spine in line. Lift the underside of your waist, place a covered T on that top hip, and then get lifting those legs. Now I like to think about creating a long leg here. So you could imagine that somebody is just pulling on your foot away from your body. And as you do that, it keeps the pelvis nice and level so that you're not using muscles on the side of the body to lift your leg like this. You're using the muscles at the side of the hip to lift your leg. So really trying to focus in on those outer glutes. Once you've done maybe 6 to 8, have a little rest and then jump back in. Lovely, yeah, and you can straighten that bottom leg a touch and see how steady you feel with that. Or you can keep it bent if you feel like you need that support, that's absolutely fine. These are tough on that side hip. Keep them going, looking good. Breathing out as the leg comes up and in as we go down. I always find on the second side you know what's coming, so you're a bit reluctant, but let's go for it. So, straight leg, foot at hip height, and we're going to go for some nice precise circles drawn on the wall with the toe. And make your circles small so that they can be precise. Keep going with those circles. Last little push before we stretch, change direction. 5 more circles, 4 more circles, 3, 2, and 1. There we go, down with that leg. Oh gosh, it does feel all of a sudden a lot heavier. Okay, we're going to just use the last minute or so to lovely twist and stretch through the spine. So I want you to lie on your backs with your feet and knees together, knees bent and arms reach to the side of you. So hopefully you've got enough space for this. If not, you'll just have to adjust and do your best. So I want you just to start to slowly twist back, taking your knees from side to side. Now as you go, you can let your opposite hip lift off the floor so that you're trying to get your knees towards the floor or as close as you can. You'll feel a bit more of a stretch through the middle and upper back there, rather than just keeping it in the back and the hips. And as you twist across, try and keep your knees and your feet gently pressed together. And try not to let your rib cage lift up too much, but keep that connection between the rib cage and the pelvis. And then you're going to take it over to one side and hold it there. Just let gravity really sink the knees down towards the mat. What you should also feel is a stretch in the opposite shoulder at the front. And then if you want to, with that top leg, just start to straighten it and see if you can get it to rest down towards the floor. Or maybe a little bit higher with that leg up and over towards your hand. And just breathe into that twist. Make it feel really comfortable. Make it feel really beneficial. Maybe even looking away from your foot, your knees in the direction of your other hand. And then slowly draw that knee back towards you. And then we'll repeat that on the opposite side. So the knees go up, over and across. Let your back settle into that twist. Then start to drape the leg over the top, out to the side, or maybe drawing it a little bit higher. And then again, glance over to the opposite shoulder and just hang there for a couple of breaths. Okay, let's bring that leg back up and over. And we're going to hug the knees towards us and just gently massage the small of the back into the mat, pulling the knees tightly towards us just to open up the bones in the spine. And then you can either rock from side to side, you can stay here, or you can try maybe rolling forwards and backwards on your mat to slowly bring yourself back up to sit. Lovely, good party trick that one, the rolling forwards and backwards. So practice it with over your Christmas holiday. Lovely.